Howdy, Earthlings. All the other Kepleys may have left, but I stayed. That's why I should be your favorite one. Anyway, welcome to another Dolly's Factory character guide. Keep in mind, Linnea just released, and much of what I'm talking about may get patched or changed entirely in the future. Linnea was newly released in Dolly's Factory in the Greenhouse update. She's a sort of wood sprite or dryad like Plushie, and because of that, everything about her is heavily nature themed. Well, everything about this update is nature themed. Her health is 7, which is 70 HP, 4 stamina, which is 90 stamina points, 6 speed, 4 stealth, and 4 efficiency. This puts her in a pretty well-rounded spot with a higher than average speed and health, while everything else is slightly below average but still very playable. Ability 1, Peaceful Meadow. Linnea and Shrooby, the two greenhouse plushies, are both the first plushies to have 3 abilities. Unlike Shrooby though, every one of Linnea's abilities are all beneficial. The first one is Peaceful Meadow. With PM, Linnea makes a moderately sized circular area of effect that denies opponents entry into the zone. Linnea can't make a meadow when too close to a reject, and rejects can't enter it. This makes her ability effectively a wall protecting any plushie inside. You can use this to block up zones by putting it in a doorway, it can slow Shrooby, and it keeps rejects from getting near the machine you're working on. This makes her very well suited for greenhouse floors, where she can avoid her reject self sneaking up on her, or even slow Shrooby to buy more time. It also lasts for 15 seconds and provides hidden buffs to teammates, and when they say hidden, they really mean it. When in the meadow, you have no indicators on screen to tell you what these buffs are. I asked around, and no one knew what they were. But I asked Freya, and she said that Doug heals in her meadow, and Queenie gets a cooldown boost. Seems like Linnea is going to provide unique buffs based on the character. Ability 2, Sprouting Harmony. Linnea's second ability is Sprouting Harmony. This is an ability that can only be activated when in Peaceful Meadow, so this isn't really a separate ability, but more like a side of fries. When you activate it, Linnea becomes encased in a flower bud and regenerates HP over time, while also making her immobile. Originally, this ability only restored 5 HP. This made the ability effectively useless as it can only be used in Meadow, and Meadow has a 90-second cooldown. They must have watched my video complaining about it because it now has been increased to 20-ish HP, which is much better. I say 20-ish because I've recovered 19 a few times. That's more than I suggested. I suggested only 15, but so it's pretty good now. This is why I said that thing at the beginning. New characters are prime targets for changes. This improvement makes it so Linnea can recover to full HP in 180 seconds to 270, depending on how low you are. This might seem like a long time, but it's 4 times faster than before. This alone makes Linnea probably the best solo option that isn't an extractor. I actually have 0 issues with this character now. Passive ability, Sprites of Beauty. Linnea's final ability is one that makes her low-key a must for every team. Every zone, Linnea will give every teammate a sprite. This sprite has 3 HP and will take a hit when you're smacked by an enemy. I made a plushie concept that uses a similar ability, so I have a pretty good idea behind the point of this ability. Hits from rejects hit the sprite first, then shields and health. The sprite has 3 health and prevents runover. This means that if a hit would deal more than 3 damage, it won't hit the shields or health bar beneath it. This means it can be used to protect from a big hit for free, preventing a one-shot kill potentially, but since it's 3 health, it can be hit by lower damage sources multiple times. This prevents it from being wasted on a stray thim shot or a tiny bit of poison. Since this passive gives a sprite every zone, it's incredibly powerful. I'm already someone who doesn't get hit much unless I'm feeling full lazy that day, so this is huge. As a bonus, if it works like I suggested in my plushie pitch, Felicia might not lose progress when hit. I tested it, and unfortunately, you still lose fluff XP on Felicia, which is a bummer. This seemed like an ideal combo for the two. While it might not be extra beneficial to Felicia, shield sprites are still a game changer for skilled players who rarely get hit to begin with. They won't be as useful for someone who's hit a lot though. Still, a sprite can prevent a hit that would otherwise be an instant down if you have a plushie with less than 40 health or shields. Will of the Sprite gives you a sprite when you use a shield item. It lets you have up to 2 as well, so this is a big deal too and makes for a great third charm option if you're tired of stitch charms. I personally prefer Stellar Exertion for my third slot for the burst of speed and bonus stamina, but if you don't have a Linnea on the team, her charm is worth it. Bonus. One more bonus thing people might not think to factor into her quality as a character is how she uses the machines. She'll lay back and off to the side of the machine and use her vines to crank the machine. This makes her harder to spot on crank machines because she doesn't move and because she stays behind the silhouette of the machine. Normally when a plushie cranks the machine themselves, they frequently bob in and out of cover of the machine, making them easier to spot. Linnea doesn't move and even lays down, making her a smaller target. If it works how I think it does, she should be harder to spot on machines than other plushies. Charms. You might think that due to her having a very long cooldown on her Peaceful Meadow, 90 seconds, that I'd say she's a prime candidate for Director's Cut. Director's Cut reduces cooldown by a max of 12%, and since it's percentage based, it's better the longer the cooldown on something is. But Director's Cut will only shave off 12 seconds, which is huge in the short term, but in practice, you're probably only using Meadow once or twice more per zone. This maybe squeezes in an additional fundamental use if you're using Meadow as soon as it's available as opposed to when you actually need it. On later floors, it's better since they take longer. In that case, DC might be worth grabbing from the Shrine Room. Otherwise, I don't think it makes a big enough difference that it's worth grabbing. For charms, I recommend my usual quality build, which is the same quality build that most people use. It's Carrot Rush, Workaholic, and your favorite flex pick. Since she self-heals, you don't need a Stitch item for the third slot. I'd recommend Stellar Exertion for speed and Stamina Bump. If you like Backpack, then maybe that's a good option for you. If you want to play her support, you can do Carrot Rush, Smart Foraging, and Will of the Sprite, then pick up DC later. This might sound odd, but with Smart Foraging, you're being given rare items, and you can use the rare shield items on yourself to give yourself the Sprite, and then drop everything else or sell everything else, making you, better at unlocking the perks for the train, or you're giving more shields out to the teammates once yours are full. It's not a terrible option if you don't know what else to do. Overall, before the update improved her heal amount, I would say she was a somewhat middling plushie, which is okay. It's okay that there's B's and C's on the board. I just don't think any character should be dumpster quality. Cinnabon. Her abilities make her very well suited for greenhouse floors, and useful for maybe one machine a zone on normal floors due to long cooldowns, 2 or 3 if your team is dragging feet. But I don't think a character is worth picking if they're only useful once every 5 floors. The only thing that made her worth picking for the whole team is the shield sprites, so you probably wouldn't want more than one per team before the update. But after the update, she's the best solo option that there is, that isn't pure extraction or speed based. For co-op, I think she's a must pick for shield sprites and the ability to zone and trivialize greenhouse. I definitely think she's an S tier plushie. Linnea is a good example of how the opening week of a patch can make or break a character. Chances are, if she wasn't caught this week, she would have gone unnoticed for a long time and would have been underplayed, aside from aesthetic, I guess. I still don't think you should have multiple of her on the team. Like, try to keep the team balanced. If someone else is playing Linnea, you probably don't need another Linnea or 2. You're probably fine with just the one on the team. I like her, and I'll probably be playing her myself more than my other favorites like Highfly and Spinette. She isn't as fun as those two though, and that's mostly due to the simplicity of her gameplay style, but simple is good. Not everyone is playing on the same field. Not everyone wants to flip through a billion tapes or fly across the map or, have to deal with the aiming and targeting system that Spinette has. Not every character needs to be complex, which is definitely true for Shruby, because I don't like how complex Shruby is. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my supporters on Patreon and members on YouTube like Ilwez, Alter Ego, Nightmare Wuna, Freya Games, Gezro Am, Nebazit, Aspirant Artist, Paper, Faye Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Nat, Marius Yini, Worm Syrup, Brask Beef, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Eddie14, The Ace of Raccoons, Blackjack, Rask Again, Willie Pete, TG Dante, Linky Again, Astropixie YT, and Malding Brick. I'll see you all later. I'm going to make a party full of Linnea to slowly torture reject Shruby. Bye!